Welcome back, guys. Western Mass News is celebrating the country's 250th anniversary in 2026. So we're taking a look at this day in history every weekday. The District of Columbia was established as the capital of the United States after the signing of the Residence Act on July 16th, 1790. The site was instrumental in shaping the political landscape of the newly formed nation. It was a compromise between Alexander Hamilton and the northern states, who wanted the federal government to assume Revolutionary War debts, and Thomas Jefferson, who wanted a location more friendly to southern states. Now, all you Hamilton fans, you know exactly what I'm thinking right now. The room where it happened is playing in my head.